This is Rancho from Rancho's Girls High School Basketball.
Hello, I've been the coach here at our Rancho High School for the last 10 years. I've been a head coach for the last 25 years. I've coached girls for the last 23 years. My first 2 years I coached boys. I was at Monrovia High School for my first 6 years, 2 years with the boys, 4 years with the girls. After that I went on to coach at Los Altos High School for the next 4 years. After that I went to Ayala for the next few years, and then I've been here for the last 10 years. My other stops, I was the JV head coach as well as the varsity assistant. And when I got the job here, I was the JV coach, and then I became the varsity head coach after the varsity coach stepped down.
Okay. So, what basketball principles are important to you, and how do you emphasize them upon your players?
Well, it was important when I came here to try to install some type of system that we could run. I tried to make certain things a priority in our program. We were typically never more skilled than the other teams that were playing, so we had to try to do it by outworking them or trying to make the game what I would call a kind of a mess. So what we did was we always pressed and we always shot the three. That was 2 points of emphasis that when I came in, I knew we would try to do, because first is, like I say, we weren't the most skilled team, so we didn't have a lot of kids that can go to the basket and attack the basket. So because of that, I really focused on our shooting, because I felt that was the fastest way for us to affect the game positively and try to get us on a winning track. Because when I first got here, we were the worst team in the league. Not only were we the worst team in the league, we were probably one of the worst teams in the area. So that was a point of emphasis for us, and that's what we kind of focused on, and we have been focusing on for the last 10 years. Over the last 3 years, that focus has really helped us. We won league the last 3 years. 3 years ago, that was the first time we had won league in 21 years. Also, the last 3 years we finished first, I believe fourth and fifth in the Southern section in made threes. So clearly that focus has helped us to be successful.
Have you used other professional basketball coaches' methods on your players? If so, whose and what methods?
Not so much professional. I mean, I'll watch the pro game a little bit, kind of end of game situations, out of bounds plays, things like that, because they're so good at it. A lot of things that the pros can do, obviously, my girls cannot do. So really I watch a lot of college games, whether they be men or women's games, more so women's games. So that way it kind of correlates a little better to our game. Plus that's hopefully where we want some of our players to go be playing, would be playing at the college level. So for instance, one of the offenses that we're running right now, Tara Vanderveer, who the Stanford coach is, we're running her set. We've run multiple other sets from other people. We have a half-court zone offensive set that UConn runs. It's been really good for us the last 3 years. So I pick and choose different things that really work for us. As far as the skill set stuff, I have stuff from Krzyzewski all the way on to and you can name any of the top college coaches. I have something from all of them. So we incorporate those and then kind of tweak it depending on our skill level, or even to try to challenge our kids to maybe try to do college level stuff.
What techniques do you use to help your players value the same things in basketball and feel united as a team?
Well, obviously, the things that we value was obviously we're trying to press. So last 2 years we pressed pretty much consistently all the time, and it was a whole game we would trap and do all those things. Obviously, the three is something that we emphasize. As far as being united as a team, a lot of that comes from our team bonding stuff that we do. A couple of the things that we do, we travel a lot. So obviously in traveling, we're together. Two of the big trips we do during the summer, we go to Palm Springs, we go to San Diego for two big tournaments. I've found that those tournaments really bond the girls together. And certainly if we're successful down there, the techniques that we utilize, certainly they believe in, and that we become united as a team. We went to Vegas 2 out of the last 3 years. We kind of make it an every other year trip. We've been successful up there. We won it 2 years ago. Last year we were runner up. Once again, it was another great bonding opportunity for us, and we played well, obviously, so that obviously united team. And that 2 years ago, or now it'll be 3 years ago, we won league that year, and certainly us winning that tournament, I think, certainly helped us to figure out that we were good enough to be successful in league. But we just in traveling, we typically travel together. Rarely are we separated very much, so we're always together. So on all these trips we eat together and all those things, so certainly that unites us as a group.
How do you use your expertise in conducting practice to help your players be prepared in an important game?
Well, we never say one game is more important than the other. Obviously, players know when games are important. If we're playing our league rival, for us it'd be Whittier High School. It's always a big game, but we try to emphasize that not just one game is big, all the games are important. But in preparing, say for a Whittier or maybe even a big game, maybe a tournament championship game, things like that, obviously we do a lot of scouting, whether it be video scouting or going to a site and watching the game. That way we are able to give the players information. We diagram their sets, we have them run their sets, we have our second team run sets, so we can play against it, and we're going to show them how we're going to attack it or how we're going to defend different things. Offensively, we'll show them where they're maybe deficient and the players that we want to try to attack, or on defense, the players that maybe we don't need to guard. And then we can double somebody else, or we can help on other players. So that's typically how we prepare for games.
How do you mentally prepare your players before a stressful game?
We try to put them in game-like situations throughout practice. We try to make it competitive, with some type of a running component if they're unsuccessful, or they don't make time, if they don't make enough shots. If we do some type of a drill, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, the winning team doesn't have to run, the losing team runs. Honestly, there's no replacement, even though we try to do those things in practice. There's nothing like game experience, so that's why we play pretty much year-round. We play games all the time. There's nothing like the stress of a game when there's scoreboards on, there's a scoreboard, there's a clock running, and it really matters. Even if it's a summer game or a fall or spring, although it won't count against us during the season, it gives us an opportunity to work against stressful situations.
What drills or exercise do you have your players do to reduce injury?
A few years ago, we just typically just did a little running, a little simple stretching. We did have a few injuries. We had a couple big injuries. Fortunately, the last couple years, we've gone to this dynamic stretching routine where we do some running at the beginning, and then we do this dynamic stretching where it's on the move stretching. It's not static. It's not just stationary. I think it's really helped us a lot with our flexibility. I think it's really helped us as far as injury prevention. We've had a lot fewer, knock on wood, major injuries. Maybe a tweaked ankle here and there, things like that. But for the most part, we typically tape, or we have ankle braces for everybody. That everybody has to play with ankle braces. So those things typically aren't real too serious. But I think obviously going to that has really helped us as far as our preparation for games and just being more limber, stretched out, and I think it's been a good deal for us. I really believe in it.
How do you use your conditioning programs to improve your players' endurance to enhance their performance during season?
Well, certainly, it's difficult for us to run multiple miles during the year. We typically, we'll do some stuff on the court. We'll do some suicides, we'll do some running. But most of that work is done, obviously, for us in the fall. We do a lot of running. We do a lot of different type of running. It's not just straight miles and things like that. We do sprinting with a little recovery. We work on strength, do a lot of weight room stuff. And, I try to incorporate a lot of things because I was a track coach as well before. So I was a throws coach, so we do some of those type of lifting as well. We do some Olympic lifting as well as some just regular lifting. And we try to, like I say, that's typically our conditioning preseason. I think it certainly helps us. And, over the last few years, I think it's helped prevent injuries as well. As well as made us a stronger team, and certainly we're in shape because we typically run a lot. We do a lot of agility stuff, and all those things certainly have helped us.
Was your experience and knowledge in playing basketball sufficient to give your players adequate coaching?
No, absolutely not. If I just taught them the things that I was taught, we wouldn't be a very good team. It's a continuous learning process. I'm a teacher, I'm a PE teacher as well. I was a kinesiology major. And it's just, if you don't continually do some professional development in coaching as well as in the classroom, you're always going to be behind the times. So, I'm always tweaking things. I'm always trying to gain knowledge. I'm trying to, I'll ask some of my fellow coaches that I know some of the things. I'll bounce out ideas off of them. I'll go to clinics, certainly watch a lot of basketball all the time. I try to make a lot of different games to see what's working at the high school level. Because sometimes stuff that maybe work certainly at the professional or at the college level may not exactly transfer over to the high school level. For instance, a couple years ago, we went to the San Diego tournament and watched the Final Four, and it's a big tournament. It has some of the top teams on the West Coast. And all 4 teams pressed. That's all they did. They pressed the whole game. And they caused a lot of turnovers amongst these top kids. These are kids that are going to go D1, major college scholarships, and they were throwing the ball over the gym a little bit. So I thought, okay, well, we can do the same thing. We can try to do that. So the last 2 years, that's all we've done is press, trap, and like I say, we've won league the last 2 years as well. So that's really been a good thing for us. This year we're going to change a little bit because our personnel is a little different. That's one thing with high school as opposed to college and professional. You can pick who you have. In high school, it's whoever. Well, for us, I know some schools are fortunate enough to get kids in that fit their system. But for us, with Pico kids, we get whoever we have is who we work with. So this year we're a lot bigger than we have been the last few years. So we're not going to press as much. We still will. At times, but we're going to be a little more straight man to man and